Coming up on this episode of the Village Idiom.
There you go.
Ow.
So that one was the orange habanero.
What flavor is that?
Habanero.
Was that 4 out of 5?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. What flavor is that? 4.
Flavor 4.
I wish you could smell.
Oh!
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting dive
Tell us
into its
more.
meaning, its usage, its origins. But we're also going to use it to hang or otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
Tell us more.
Tell us more. But wait, that's not all. It'll slice through a tin can and still go through lettuce like a rabbit.
That's awesome. We're gonna let us like a bullet. That makes more sense.
Lettuce like a bullet. There you
Yeah.
go.
It's something that's actually super fast.
It's faster than a rabbit.
Faster than a rabbit. So
Hey,
it's all good.
welcome back. Welcome here.
It's good to be here.
Good to be with you.
Of all the places we are right now, this is the best place to have been currently.
Of all the places that we are right now, this is the best place to have been currently. Wow, that is a mouthful.
So
Well, welcome.
yeah, it's all good. I don't even know actually what are we talking about this week?
Something like this.
With all that's going on, we can't add fuel to the fire.
You recognize that voice?
No.
We're not allowed to use that voice anymore, but that's Kevin Spacey on House of Cards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's been canceled.
He's been canceled.
Yeah, can't use that voice. Oh, Kaiser Sose canceled.
Yep.
Yeah.
K-Pax.
Who's that?
Kevin Spacey still.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was like a rapper. That
No,
was, like, killed
K-Pax
by
is when he's...
Big E or something.
It's actually, I don't know if you remember this, where you're wondering, is he actually an alien? Because he thinks he's from planet K-Pax. And everyone's like, no. But then he actually goes missing after predicting that he's being taken back to space.
That sounds...
It's worth watching.
It sounds like all your comments are very inflammatory right now.
What do you mean?
You're inflaming the situation.
Every single week I'm like more confused by what you're saying because I'm so clueless as to what we're talking about today. That's right. Our idiom today is pouring fuel on the fire.
A bit of a provocateur you are.
Which, of course, as you're indicating, makes an already tense situation that much more
Everyone
tense.
loves that guy. Who is that, like the family dinner? Or
He's the button pusher.
yeah. He
Except-
doesn't even believe everything that he says. I know we do this. You're just watching.
Sure.
You're just watching the reactions of like.
But that's more the devil's advocate or like the button pusher. Like I always thought that pouring fuel on the fire, typically, not always, could come from an innocent place. Like, what if we tried this? And the other person says, that's just pouring fuel on the fire. You're not dousing the flames. You're...
Yeah, I view the intentionality of it more so that you're with purpose putting fuel on a fire.
I guess it's the same,
you're spitting
whether
out
it's
things
intentional
that-
or not.
It got me thinking though on pouring fuel on the fire, and then obviously I started in on the research. What is the fuel for one fire is like an extinguisher for another, and so what is the fuel for a fire? So I came up with, started investigating online because that's true, and so you can tell me maybe you've heard of some of these things. Okay, nitrogen triiodide. What causes it to react?
What causes it to ignite or burst or whatever? It's not
Sure.
necessarily flame.
Right.
Water.
Okay, this one's contact. And so they produce it in this lab, and then he drops a balloon on it, like just the
So if
lightest.
anything touches it, is it a gas or a liquid?
It's a solid.
It's a solid.
Yeah, crazy, right?
And so anything touches it. How do you put it down?
So he's filtered it out of this beakery type thing and put it and dried it out on the table in like a coffee filter, and then he takes like a stick. So he does it with a few different things. So he takes like a stick and whacks it, and just boom.
What?
And then the other one is like, it's very sensitive.
Is that the equivalent of gunpowder? Like
So it's
The
that-
hammer
it's
of
the
a-
same
of
kind
a
of thing
revolver.
in nitroglycerin,
a nitroglycerin, yeah.
right? Stuff that will explode.
So it's certain
it's-
different levels of impact, I would imagine.
So and what gets it going? What is fuel to its fire is contact. And so if something as light as a
I
feather.
know people like that. For sure.
Something as light as a feather or a balloon. So they show in the video, it's just sitting there, the balloon on it, and boom. Yeah, so
amazing.
something as little as that. What is the reaction? So when you put this on cesium, it explodes.
That's what Captain America's shield's made out of?
That's vibranium.
Oh.
Get your Marvel right.
Cesium?
Yeah.
Oh, like bulletproof salads.
That's it.
What is it?
Water.
Oh, I said that on the first one. I've seen a video of this.
Yeah, so there's the video out with the putting the cesium in the water.
I just didn't know it was called. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm like, some water can trigger that.
And
like
so
water.
Its fuel is what you would use on another
This planet
situation.
and humans is what percentage water? Why doesn't someone invent a cesium bomb?
You're just one step ahead in your destruction. Your terrorism
I
is
gotta I gotta go.
is at another level. Okay, diethyl zinc.
Huh. That's what Lucille said to her neighbor. Diethyl zinc.
It explodes contact with air.
Well, how do you like?
It's stored.
Where do you keep it then?
It's sheathed or put in oil. But as soon as it's exposed,
Vacuum sealed.
As soon as it's exposed to air, oxygen in particular, it explodes.
Bursts. What is the is it explosive or burst into flame? What kind of explosion?
Yeah, you got to watch all the videos. Yeah, so it's crazy. But even something as simple as, and you will have seen this one, hydrogen peroxide and potassium iodide along with soap.
Is that elephant toothpaste?
Elephant toothpaste.
Yeah.
And so but more as it relates to the podcast, one thing that we would say, oh, that is fuel for this fire, is another's like put out a fire.
See, and that's what I meant by even when I was looking up little clips like that one, House of Cards, whatever. But even when I was looking up clips, often it was somebody with a genuine idea to help solve a problem, and the other person going, "Oh,
like a cesium bomb."
One person coming up with like, "Why don't we give this to that person?" And the other person going, "Oh, no, that's pouring fuel on the fire." It was a corrective thing, like somebody trying,
Right.
But it could also be intentional. I'm going to pour cesium.
Just give me some cesium. Cesium the day. And so
Cesium the day.
one person's like, oh, I'm going to put water on that because water is, you think of water to put out a fire, but if it's a grease fire, then
Yeah.
you're just creating more problems. That's fuel for the fire.
Just a couple summers ago, well, maybe more than that, my father-in-law cooked bacon on a rack in the oven.
Okay.
And forgot about it. And it burst into flames, and he freaked out and threw a kettle of, like a bucket of, a pot, whatever, of water in there, which just, like, he
Spread it
practically
everywhere.
lost his eyebrows.
Right.
And I was just outside because we were barbecuing, and I think that's what he was doing, bringing bacon out. And next thing you know, like, it's fire department time. Like, it was out of control.
Wow.
And so I ran in. I'm like, you can't pour water
On a grease
on
fire.
a grease fire. And I just slammed the oven shut.
Yeah.
And hoped for the best. And it actually was the
Starve
best
it.
thing you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
starve it of the oxygen. But yeah, it's so I was just in the thinking about what kind of got me all interested in the fuel for the fire is one thing's fuel is another thing's putter outer.
Yeah.
Extinguisher. That's
Put
the
her
word.
outer.
Putter outer. And is another thing's extinguisher. Yeah. So
Well,
there it is.
I also brought something just in the vein of pouring fuel on the fire, meaning, I like spicy things.
yes.
And some of the most interesting spicy foods out there actually build up on themselves. So you could have one and you're like, oh, that's not so bad. Two, you're like, oh, I'm feeling the heat.
That was an error.
Yeah. After a while, you're like, I can't see. Are you talking to me?
Remember that time we went to Wings?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So you've probably heard of the Jelly Belly Bean Boozled,
Yeah.
where you guess the flavors. There's good and bad. This
Okay.
is not good and bad. This is just
Fire and
5
fire?
levels of spice. So it goes from jalapeno to sriracha to cayenne to habanero to the Carolina Reaper.
What?
Yeah. So
We're just guessing?
We can either go through the all 5 and have a rough time with the rest of our podcast, or you could just blindfold reach in and eat one and see what it is.
Oh my goodness. I think purposely going to 5 is a
I
bad
will.
idea.
I can handle spice, but I will say I've gone
All the way to 5?
all the way to 5, but accidentally started with 5. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
So it's not I mean, it was bad.
Do you want to just not look and hand me one?
Well, you don't know what the colors represent, do you? Did you see?
Not a clue.
There you go.
Looking.
Not looking. Show us the color you pick. He's got a green one.
Ready?
Go ahead. So I'll tell you now that it's in your mouth. You only got level 2 jalapeno. So sriracha is actually the lowest.
It's still got fire in it in my mouth.
Oh, I can smell legit jalapeno.
Well, it's raking on my throat.
So pouring fuel on the fire
Woo.
would be to have another.
Okay.
So you want some water or just try another one? This one will help.
Okay, I'm reaching.
There you go.
Ow.
So that one was the orange habanero.
What flavor is that?
Habanero.
Well, that's 4 out of 5?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. What flavor is that? 4.
Flavor 4.
I wish you could smell.
Oh! Wow. ASMR.
Yeah, I'm just going to reach in. I'm going to join you just so your eyes aren't as red as...
Wow. It rakes in a different way.
I got red, which could be... It was hard to tell.
Oh,
I'm going to guess that's sriracha. I can't tell. Anyway, me and my sons... that's sriracha. That has a distinct taste.
Ginger ale lemonade is not helping.
We went through all 5 levels of hell.
That is
That's not
something else.
sriracha. I got
You got the Reaper?
the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper.
I got the Reaper.
What about all that distinct flavor nonsense you were spouting earlier?
Was I saying something?
Are you going deaf right now?
Yeah.
Ooh, so anyways,
So, welcome to the
thinking
podcast.
things that feed... Oh, I can barely think right now. Things that... What are we talking about today?
Pouring fuel on the fire. I'll tell you,
things that add
while you're...
fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Is right now, you know, with all like the fun and the insanity of the world, I was thinking about this idea of believing in things like, so, you know, we're both Jesus folks, and believing in something that unseen, this idea of faith. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so believing in something that you can't see just drives people mental.
Sure.
That you have like non-test tubable proof of. There's no like that kind of like A plus B equals C documentation around faith-related things. And when it's something that I think drives people crazy, which got back to that place where you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics, and you don't talk about some other thing that we talk about. So that it's that stuff that is so subjective feels like people get fired up, and so
I
you
see.
you just avoid it.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people avoid it.
Some people do, for sure. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I'm happy to discuss anything. There's things that push my buttons, but I'm a pretty level-headed debater. Like, not even to debate, but I like to learn as well. So if somebody has a different point of view than me, I am all ears.
Like in groups and whatnot.
Well, if it was 9 against 1, I'd feel picked on, I guess. But
Yeah, that kind of mass debate. Gonna get cut out of this podcast. No, this is the Reaper talking, or the whatever, the habanero. Oh,
let's go from right here.
That'll only add fuel to the fire.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but
thank you.
that was Designated Survivor. Okay, so here's a quick story, and then we'll get into origins. 1 year, I think it was first place we lived in after we got married. We had this big stone, like huge stone fireplace. Okay. And it was just after Christmas, and I'm like, I'm just going to get rid of this Christmas tree as firewood. And that's easier than taking it to the chipper or taking it to the school where they're gathering these trees. Yeah, talk about pouring fuel on the fire. Christmas trees are not firewood. They are fuel. Like, it got so out of hand. There were 2 and 3 foot flames coming out of the fireplace, and I'm basically standing there going, there's no longer anything I can do.
It's out of control.
It's out of control. This is either going to light the house on fire,
Yeah.
or it's going to burn itself out.
Yeah, you see those crazy Christmassy videos.
I had no idea
Of a tree
I had
going
never
up.
seen that.
Woof. Yeah, it's actually
It's
that
a
quick.
real deal. Like, it is terrifying.
Yeah, it's high up there in the Hall of Fame. I told you about my gunpowder when I set my face on fire accidentally. But things that just like spark, woof. So we used to keep our trees till Mother's Day. And
What?
so we would keep a Christmas tree,
Like
a
up
Christmas
and
tree.
in the room?
No, it would go out into the backyard and just sit there. But it was, even though it was wet, or it could have snow on it, but it was drying on the inside and getting tindered up. Come Mother's Day, chop it into pieces.
Why Mother's Day?
'Cause that's when you celebrate the tree chopping day.
Okay, keep going.
And then we just set it on fire and watch it woof.
Like an effigy kind of thing? Why Mother's Day?
I don't know. Why not?
This is the most interesting Christmas tradition ever. So we keep our Christmas tree outside till Mother's Day.
Everybody's got a family
And we
tradition.
gather round, arms around our mother.
Think about mom, and then we set it on fire.
So did you burn it whole outside?
No, you can't. You'd have to chop it into little pieces. It burns too fast.
Okay.
It's a ball of fire,
Yeah.
like an atomic bomb.
I know.
Yeah. Until
I
you
just find it interesting that it was so distinctly. It wasn't like, leave it out there for a month or so. It was like, leave it out till Mother's Day. It was like a tradition for you.
Yeah, well, I don't know, these kind of little fun-controlled explosive, like, fuel on the fire. We used to do this thing, a youth group, where we would do, like, ball up little matches and put them behind boulders and shoot boulders up hills. It's not rocket science that in order to get it up to propel it like that. Yeah.
It is actually. So, is this a real thing though that you did?
No.
Oh man, I'm like
That's all so I could say it's not rocket science. Don't be that disappointed.
I'm not. I was like, I wanted to know how you were actually moving you were moving the boulders up the hill. How? Match heads? No,
Not
can't
that.
be right. All right, it's
there are.
it's just time.
Said some words. Where'd
Cutting
they
you
go?
off.
Where'd
You're
they
cut
go?
off.
No one can know. I turned around
beans.
and looked behind.
The bean
Those words
boozled.
came from another mind. Origins.
You got some good origin on that one?
I do actually. So this expression exists. It's short though. This is going to be short-lived. We can get back into your burning stuff up stories. This expression existed in Latin around the year, are you ready? 1 AD.
Whoa.
Yep. The Roman historian Titus Livius used this expression in his History of Rome, called Livy's History of Rome. You can call me Livy.
We're good.
Livy's History of Rome, book 21, says this. I'm not going to read it in Latin. This is English. You have sent to the army as though supplying fuel to the fire a young man who is consumed with a passion for sovereign power and who recognizes that the only way to it lies in passing his life surrounded by armed legions and perpetually stirring up fresh wars. It is you, therefore, who have fed this fire which is now scorching you. 180.
Crazy.
Yeah. And that's exactly the way we use it. Like, it's not in reference to a fire. Mm-hmm. It's not in reference to any sort of purposeful combustion. It is figuratively referring to a person in politics and war and battles. And
Interesting.
yeah, that is the extent of the origins right there.
There's nothing.
There's a pinpoint. It started here with Livy's History of Rome.
There's been all sorts of like companies explore alternate fuel methods, like corn, ethanol type.
Yeah.
There was the company that did. They were using the animal urine
As a fuel?
Yeah. The company was BP.
Is there another joke here?
Oh, no.
BP. Got it. I'm waiting. I don't get it. Animal urine. I was
Should I
thinking
got
of
insect
cats and
urine?
dogs. Yeah.
They was using insect
You're
urine.
the worst.
I was trying to derail you today.
You have.
It's the beans.
Multiple
it's the
times.
Bean-boozled. It's
Multiple
messing me up.
times.
I'm still I feel like I'm slurring.
From the burning? Is it still like the painy
Just
feeling?
the left side of my tongue, apparently. The other side's paralyzed. It has no feeling left.
I used to I remember going along as a chaperone for a kids like sleepaway camp thing, And it wasn't actually Boys and Girl Scouts, but one of the leaders came out of Boy Scouts, and he had all these, campfire traditions and how you do s'mores.
They're so full of tradition.
And so he had this thing. He had me help him ahead of time. So I'm going to give away the setup here, but the kids had no idea until they gathered around the fire. He had me tie a steel airplane wire cable from the center of the fire pit.
I feel like you're messing around with me right now.
No, this is amazing. Center of the fire pit, up 30 feet into a tree. And then he had a metal arrow on rings with, and I'm up in the tree with a lighter.
This
and
is
it has
amazing.
a sponge front.
I feel like you're
filled
totally
with,
screwing with me right now.
I'm not. Sponge front. That
Square pants, yeah.
That sponge front square pants. Not so square pants. So I would douse it with lighter fluid, and then he did this big we call to the east and the west, and this whole thing that he had learned from the Boy Scouts. And then I light it, and now it's dark, and there's no fire yet. In the center of the fire, he's got a teepee of kindling and wood and logs and da-da-da-da. Inside, in the center of that, is a cup of lighter fluid, kerosene or something. And I light this arrow from the top of this tree, and it just flies down along this cable directly into the center of the fire, hitting the kerosene, and just and the kids and the fire. That's how they started their fire that night.
Did it work?
Yeah, it was unreal. And
so I felt you were screwing with me, because I was a Boy Scout leader, and at this one camp, the leader set up a big bonfire situation for our nighttime fire with a thin cable coming out of it up into a tree, and I was in the tree.
Are you messing with me?
No, that's why I was asking if you were messing with me.
I've never heard this story from you.
And so I was in the tree.
I was in the tree.
Did
yours work?
To set off the fire. So the best part, it's on fire, zips down, goes into the fire. We didn't have lighter fluid inside. Maybe that's where it went wrong. It did not light the fire. They were adamant that you only do it once.
Yeah.
And so we all sat around some smoldering wood. And that was campfire for the night. And the best part is he blamed the kids. Because
for not having enough faith or something?
Yeah, it was one of these something, someone must have been doing something bad or something and so this is why it didn't work. So I have the fail story of your success. Yeah,
mine was great.
I am the yang.
But I didn't. I got the idea of what was going to happen. I'm standing in a tree. But I still was blown away when I saw it happen. I'm like, I swore I was going to create this whole thing and do it myself, and I never did it. But so his rig worked.
I've done this and it failed.
So kerosene in the center.
That was where I went wrong.
And it was explosive straight up into the air. I actually was surprised.
Maybe he doused it up good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no accelerants in ours.
I was worried when I saw how big of a flame, and it settles right down, but when I saw how big of a flame got it going, I was like, we're lucky stuff didn't go flying out of this. You know what I mean?
It's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great. I genuinely thought you were messing around with me.
No, I've never heard. I guess I've only heard your positive fire stories. I don't know
if I've had many. I've had lots of fails.
Yeah, but your fails have been burning something down, not just
epic.
It didn't light.
No,
those are the stories you're not telling.
Right, it didn't light, but blaming the kids. It's like when my kid said, the tooth fairy didn't come last night. And I'm like, oh, did you try and stay awake so you could see her? Yeah, I did. I tried to stay awake. Yeah, it's your fault. Did you know that he lost a tooth? No.
That's too good.
Yeah, you just blame the kids. That's a
I think
classic
that's if we've learned anything.
If we've learned anything by now, it's just blame the kids. Right?
Blame the kids.
Yeah, they won't know.
Well, what time?
Yeah, we are heading into the home stretch here.
Want to do it?
Let's giddy.
All right. Well, Riddle Link is a game we like to play. That is a two-part trivia-based question that requires a two-part but overlapping answer. overlapping by sound or a word or syllables.
We have to talk ferociously over this because this got YouTube copy striked last time.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. It's public domain song. That's why I chose it.
Well, hilarious, because YouTube hates it. They're
That's
like, this
so
belongs
weird.
to some whatever. Anyway, continue.
Wow, that bothers me. That's why I chose this music.
It's only happened once. We've done it like dozens of times.
All right. Well, for example, last week our podcast, our idiom du jour was the Full Monty, and this was the Riddle Link we left you with. This bespoke tailoring bigwig was also the lead singer for the Guess Who. Do you remember from last week?
Who was the Guess Who? Was that? It wasn't Clapton, was it?
No.
What's the guy? Black curly hair.
Yeah, mustache.
No, I don't. It's
Not
out of my
Weird
head.
Al.
It's out of my head right now.
Do you know the first part of this, the bespoke tailoring from the podcast? Mm-mm. So that was Sir Montague Burton.
Okay.
Which was part of what we were discussing.
Cummings?
Burton Cummings.
Oh, I was on the wrong track.
Sir Montague
on the
Burton
wrong
Cummings.
track.
Not that bad.
That's all right.
You described him, right? Curly hair, black hair.
I could see him from the cover from a record. If
Funny.
you can believe such a thing. Anyway, here we go. I'll go first with one, and then you can jump in. The largest four-legged Saharan mammal. Use Colgate, not hydroperoxide and potassium iodide.
I mean, mammoth elephant's toothpaste? Mammoth.
I was trying to throw in. It's a Saharan. Yeah, so it's a continental.
Oh, I thought you said prehistoric somewhere in there. Just largest. So largest currently. African elephant's toothpaste.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Good job.
I'm not sure if the mammoth was bigger or smaller. I just went straight to mammoth. All right, let me give you one.
Yeah.
This precedes... I'm reading the wrong one. Making a tense moment even more tense for Tony Stark.
Pouring fuel on the fireman?
That's it.
Wow. That messed me up at the end.
Fireman.
Fireman. I don't know what it was, but
Why didn't you call yourself fireman? Fireman.
I am fireman. All right.
Go ahead.
Just inflame the situation, child actor Drew Barrymore.
What? Oh, you gave her name. Child actor. Just in the situation. Pouring fuel on the... fire... Pouring fuel on the fire starter?
Yeah.
Was it a fire starter?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo.
Is that Stephen King?
It could be.
Yeah, it sounds very Stephen King-y.
I don't think I ever saw it, but...
Good job. Well, if you're looking to beat us in a Riddle Link, or you have something that you'd like to add into the conversation, make sure you reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom, or email thevillageidiom@gmail.com, or whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone.
Nicely done. This is one just for the illegitimate children out there, and it goes a little something like this. Hit it. This precedes the old man is snoring, and you're making a bad situation worse.
Okay, I'm good.
You got it?
Yeah, and that has been 3 Minutes Gone.
Beauty.
Good. Okay, so as we bring things to a wrap, of course we want to acknowledge our sponsor, as always, HelloFresh. Dinner is solved out there.
Dinner is solved out everywhere.
I'm telling you, yesterday, I came home from work, and my 14-year-old daughter, she's been at it for a few years. I came home to a beautiful pork taco
Nice.
dinner, and it was amazing, with like lime zest and all the baked vegetables. It was fantastic.
Right? And how old is she?
She's 14.
Right? So
Yeah, she's been capable and at this for a couple of years. So if you have young people in your home and you're looking to not make dinner every night, consider HelloFresh.
and it's a gourmet meal, step by step, pre-measured ingredients. That's amazing.
We very much have codes to get you if you haven't signed up to do such a thing, that we can get you free meals for the week.
That is correct.
It's all good. So make sure you reach out to us. It's all good.
It's all good.
I don't want to cut you short and anger you.
No, that'd just be pouring fuel on the fire.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good. You're not one to be angered, flamed.
No, you'd be pouring fuel on dry wood. You'd still need a match.
The analogy is just blowing apart, but whatever. It's all good. I'm skinny.
You'd be dropping cesium on... And I'm Jurassic Lit Mark.
In a bathtub of water. And these are the Village Idioms.
You're pouring fuel on the fire.
That's 3 minutes gone.